Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys been doing well. We're back with another conversation video about Black Ops 7 Season 1 because a lot of things have been happening since the release of Season 1. And I'm not gonna lie, the season drop, can't lie, it's been alright. The multiplayer maps I really don't like. I really don't like some of them. There's a teleporting map and mechanic in one of them. It makes zero sense to have that. But a surprisingly good thing that I like about Season 1 is Warzone. Surprisingly, the new Warzone map works completely fine. I actually had 300 FPS in a Warzone game multiple times. And to add on top of that, the gameplay experience was actually smooth. Everything played out well. But enough of my glazing of Black Ops 7. Let's talk about some of the negatives that have happened since the release of Black Ops 7 Season 1, which we're going to start it off hot, which a lot of you guys might be, not going to lie, disagreeing with this and not even thinking that this is real. And I wouldn't blame you. But PlayStation had an entire blog post to the November 2025 top downloaded and I'm assuming purchased games. All right. And surprisingly so, for the US and Canada and even the EU, the most bought and played and you know, video game within the PlayStation store for PS5 specifically. This does not account for PlayStation and old gen users, or for specifically only PlayStation 5 users. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 for both US, Canada, and EU, which is honestly surprising, right? We saw in the couple of last weeks that the EU sales have dropped 50% compared to Black Ops 6 for Black Ops 7 in Europe. But now PlayStation themselves, in their own blog post, is confirming that within 3 different big countries, the US, Canada, and EU, Black Ops 7 is the top selling game, right? And this is only specifically for PlayStation 5. And this tweet under Charlie Intel has over 2.9 million views. And a surprising tweet that I really saw was somebody that's a Call of Duty sponsor. He's a Call of Duty Next person. That's obviously JGod. And he tweeted out saying, how is that possible for them to be #1 without last gen sales? Gotta be made up numbers at this point. Listen, I don't know if it's, you know, JGod just saying this from a consumer's perspective, but if I'm Activision, seeing JGod post this, I'm cutting him off of the whitelist, bro. All right, he's not getting invited to Call of Duty next. But yeah, I don't understand how they were the #1 selling game or the #1 played game within Europe when sales are down 50% compared to Black Ops 6, which has already been confirmed. But I don't know how this is the top downloaded game in Europe. And I also don't understand how it's the top downloaded game in the US and Canada, when sales, we've been getting told from insiders that it's been the worst ever compared to Black Ops 6. And we obviously know that it's not as good as Black Ops 6 because Treyarch and Activision have never tweeted out anything about the player counts at all, or the world record breaking sales for Call of Duty this year with Black Ops 7. So that's really weird. I think that goes to show how big Call of Duty is, no matter how many things are exposed, lied about, and twisted and turned from Activision and Treyarch and the dev studios, man. But a lot of people also pointed out the fact that this is saying Call of Duty Black Ops 7. All right, this guy Fumo Leaks, who is a huge Call of Duty fan, he says that don't say Call of Duty HQ. What's the excuse now? And the excuse is nothing, honestly. I don't think any of the very hyper-critical and very critique YouTubers like myself could really say anything other than the fact is that Call of Duty is just that big of a game. I think if you don't want to have a tinfoil hat on, or, you know, have any crazy theories like made up numbers like JGod says, I think the most, I don't know how to say this in a correct way or the right manner, but I think the most basic answer is the fact that Call of Duty is just that big. And obviously I wouldn't be surprised if it is manipulated numbers and manipulated sales, but just to see that it's the most downloaded game, and we haven't had a free-to-play weekend yet. It's strictly based off of Black Ops 7 itself. It's not Call of Duty HQ, so Warzone's not included. I think this goes to show how big Black Ops 7 and Call of Duty is in general throughout the world. Because we, the people that you guys watching the videos right now, I really feel like we are the minority when it comes to consuming and watching Call of Duty content, man, and caring this much about Call of Duty. But still, there's a lot of gamers that know how bad Call of Duty is. But another funny thing that has happened with this tweet and this news coming out with Black Ops 7 being the #1 game downloaded, played, bought in the PlayStation 5 store is some people are saying, you know, Sony should show the refund stats and that it's fucking fake. I don't think this is fake. This is on an entire PlayStation blog post. It would be insanely bad for PlayStation to create and manipulate stats and all that stuff, man, because they got investors out the fucking wazoo. They got people that believe and trust them so much, right? And compared to Xbox and even Microsoft as well when it comes to Windows and all that stuff, I feel like PlayStation, outside of the big three faces of gaming, right, they have the best reputation when it comes to the actual consumers right now, right? They don't have a bad reputation with having leaks saying that their next console is going to be $1,000 plus like Xbox does, right? They're not like Microsoft where they are discontinuing Windows 10 and discontinuing a Windows version, right, that a lot of people are still on. I feel like PlayStation and Sony are in such a good spot right now when it comes to the gaming community and the technology community that they won't want to fuck this up. So if they were to fake stats or not, you know, or just not be honest about the stats for the most downloaded or played or bought game of November, then I feel like that would ruin them, right? And I think it's just crazy to see people not cope, but try to get more information from a big company like Sony at the end of the day. If there was a lot of refund stats and like a lot of refunds and an outrageous amount, it probably would have been like Cyberpunk 2077, which we all know 5-6 years ago now, whatever it fucking released. It had one of the worst launches for a video game ever, where even Sony was giving out, you know, refund stats and, you know, letting everybody refund the game for free, right? And they have one of the strictest refund policies of all time that I've seen from a company. And listen, I don't think that this is manipulated, but at the same time, I'm still open to hearing the theory of, yeah, this could be manipulated stats, you know? But moving on from the PlayStation sales and, you know, Black Ops 7 being the #1 played or downloaded game or bought game on PlayStation 5 consoles, right, throughout US, Canada, and Europe, right? Outside of that, Season 1 dropped, and, you know, we talked about and made a video talking about, you know, how standard mosh pit's back in the game, and it was going to be set in a featured playlist. And literally, as soon as you load up multiplayer, it is the very first thing. And listen, I know it's not that big of a deal, you know, it being the first first thing that you can press on, but the fact that it's there and it's not its select own feature is weird, right? I really hope and pray that standard mosh pit is the only game mode with matchmaking is, you know, skills and important consideration, right? I really hope that standard mosh pit's the only regular Modern Warfare 2019-esque SBMM mode within Black Ops 7. I really feel like for Modern Warfare 4, it should just be its own separate thing, right, that you can toggle on and off. But at this point, we're not going to get any momentum to get another SBMM change, if we're being honest here. But at least we still have open matchmaking. If they fully removed open matchmaking, we're cooked. And I played last night for the first time within 2 days because I'm so busy with college and finals. But I understand why people are very mad about this because, dude, most people are not going to be able to read this shit on the right, where it says matchmaking where skills an important consideration. And it's also add on top of that, there's still no data supporting Treyarch or Activision's claim of increased engagement with standard mosh pit and the standard matchmaking system that we've had for the last 5 to 6 years that we've been complaining about for the last 5 to 6 years. And for me, honestly, I'm not playing any of the featured modes. There are too many sweats. If you were wondering how I get such a good lobbies, how I'm close to a 3 KD, all I do is basically 2 to 3 things, okay? I, for one, only run domination, all right? 2, I only look for console players. I'm not saying that console players are inherently bad, but compared to me where I'm on 300 FPS, custom audio with SteelSeries sonar, I have, you know, 4 back buttons compared to everybody else, right? If I'm going against console players, 9 times out of 10, they don't have either one of those things, right? 300 FPS, good audio and a good headset, or they don't even have a custom controller or a controller like this, which is like $80, right? I slam on console players, and I fish and shark for them so hard. And thirdly, I always play with at least one other person. I cannot stand this game. I can't stand Call of Duty by myself, right? And I just use UAVs, harps, and counter UAVs, and just not even use the meta, but I just use whatever's fun and something that I want to try, like the M8. I want to get Prestige Master so I get Dragon Camo. But all in all, right, this is still bad. The fact that standard mosh pit is not in its own separate playlist, or not even in the bottom left like private match, absolutely sucks. All right? And I understand that, you know, it's only one standard mosh pit mode compared to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and, you know, what, 12 other ones with quick play on that screenshot. So I understand that like there's only one standard mosh pit mode compared to the 12 open mosh pit modes as well, but it just sucks seeing it be at the top, right? And even T-Dog Smitty, who was somebody at Call of Duty Next, who is one of, if not the biggest Call of Duty shell by the internet. That's the title he's been given. I don't think he's a Call of Duty shell, right? And Call of Duty Glazer, guys, it's a fucking meme. He says, as the biggest Call of Duty fanboy ever, that just counteracts what I just fucking said, I legit don't think this franchise would ever recover from a matchmaking rug pull. And I don't think it's going to recover. I really think next year, people are going to be more sus and just questioning of Modern Warfare 4's matchmaking system and how Infinity Ward and not Treyarch, but you know what I mean, Activision are going to do it. But I'm really sus about this. I am too. Like, I'm not comfortable with this, man. This is an uncomfortable situation and topic to talk about right now because everybody's experiences so far that I've talked to, YouTubers like the Rick, his community, and other people that are friends of mine and all that stuff, everybody's experience is different. And I don't know if it's because of a skill thing or because there's actually something going on in the background. But all in all, it's very weird. And, you know, the things that we've covered in today's video, I'm happy to see people who are Call of Duty Next invites and sponsored by Call of Duty that have good connections with Activision and all that stuff. They're calling out the bullshit that they see or the things that they're sus about. And I'm also very happy to see people, you know, not have sides, but particularly I'm happy to see people just be aware of what's going on, you know, from the most casual person in the world to the people that are on Call of Duty every single day. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Please, if you guys want to support the video and the channel, drop a like and comment, man. Engagement is what helps me out to grow, to push out the videos, all that stuff, man. And engagement's the most important thing for me right now. So please engage with this video in any sort of way you can. And if you guys want to go the extra mile, go subscribe as well. But it's been Bo Limbo. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.